done this enough times to know what to do. So it's a hard fight, obviously, going into a rematch, especially off a loss the first time. But, I'm looking forward to getting there, trying to get a different result.
You are facing a familiar foe in Israel Adesanya. As you just mentioned, you fought him before. How does preparation, does it change at all coming into this fight, knowing that you do know him a little better now?
Yeah, definitely. Have to change some things up because it'd be crazy to try and go in there with the same plan as last time and expect a different result. So going to utilise some different angles, some different things that we've seen his opponents use in fights that he's had recently and, hopefully get a different result than last time.
How long have you been thinking about this rematch? I know you've had, a couple fights since Israel Adesanya's fight. How long have you been preparing or thinking about it, even if psychologically?
Yeah, not too much, to be honest. It's one of those things like I just put it in the back of my mind. And once I lost that first fight to him, I took a step aside from the game and reevaluated things and reconnected some dots and got back at it, got back in the game, got back into the fight scene. And, honestly, I've been taking it one fight at a time, just focusing on the fight at hand and enjoying the journey more than anything.
I think last time we had a conversation, we spoke about how you had made a comment about each fight, you learn something and it adds to your kit as a fighter. After that fight, what did you take away from that?
It's too much to go into. You don't have enough time on the segment, trust me. I took a lot out of that fight, from the loss. I took time off from the fight game after it, and that was the time I used to try and, reinvent myself, find out my whys, my hows, my whats, and just, find myself, I guess. And because of that, I'm just in such a better place than I was then, inside and outside the octagon. You can see that in my performances, but you can also see that in the way I conduct myself and my attitude leading up to fights and post-fights and things like that. So, I'm having a ball over here.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear because a happy fighter is always a dangerous one, Robert. Look, thinking about the fighter that you were, those few fights ago compared to now, can you see the difference?
Yeah, certainly. I'd like to think I've made significant skill gains in that time apart, like in those fights individually, as well as I'm utilising a wider range of my skill sets. I have wrestling, I have grappling. I haven't needed to use them in fights prior to Adesanya and prior to Till. And so to now have the confidence to go into a fight and be able to do that and to utilise those skills can only make me a better fighter.
Because you've always had those skills. You've always been one of, the strongest middleweights in the UFC, if not in UFC history. So has it been more of a psychological growth than anything else?
Definitely. It's two-part. So with utilising the skill set in the fight, I gained the confidence in those skill sets. So they kind of compound on each other like that. But and all of that starts up here. Every fight starts up here. So it's both questions. Yes.
Look, another UFC fighter, Martin Vettori, he had his chance at a rematch, didn't get the result that he wanted. What is necessary to take on board when you fight Israel again, having had that time with him in the octagon already? I
don't want to give away too many secrets. He's a phenomenal fighter, and respect when it's due. He knows how to throw his hands around. So, all I can say is I'm going to go in there and I'm going to use my whole skill set. And I'm going to try and make him uncomfortable because I'm going to try and utilize angles that he's not comfortable with or where he's not as strong as other places. And he knows this. Like every fight is like that, trying to attack the weakest point of an opponent. The hard thing is he's such a well-rounded fighter and he's so highly skilled that finding those points is hard. I'm going to have to actually create some of them. So, yeah, but that's the game. It's human chess. It's fun like that. So, it should be a good showing from both of us.
We all know Israel's coming off a loss when he stepped up to the light heavyweight division, and everyone's talking about how Jan has set this blueprint of sorts to solving that puzzle that you speak of. What do you take away from that fight he had in the light heavyweight division?
There's only so much you can take away because it is at a heavier weight division and he's fighting Jan. Jan's got Polish power and a big Polish head. So you can't copy it, play for play, but you could see in that fight that Jan was mixing in the takedowns, mixing his strikes, being very patient, and that had an effect on Israel. And how much, who can say? It is what it is. It was a close fight regardless, but yeah, you can definitely take away some things from that fight.
As well as all of this, there's a title on the line, a title that you used to own. You held it for a very long time. Robert, what does it mean for you to have that belt around your waist again?
Honestly, I haven't thought about it. I haven't really thought about it at all. It's all my thought process is just going into trying to solve the puzzle that is Adesanya, and that's where all my focus is at the moment, and that's what I'm gonna stick with.
Now, finally, there was a comment that you made on another podcast that I listened to, talking about, there was a lot of chaos surrounding your last fight with Israel, which is pretty much normal in terms of the media and the hype and all of that surrounds a fight with Israel. And there was a comment that you made about the Australia-New Zealand feud, which was quite evident in that last fight. And you actually came to Aotearoa, New Zealand to connect and to get a feel of it. But you also said that it was part of that chaos. Can you describe what exactly you meant and how that affected you and perhaps how you've had to overcome that?
Okay, I was waiting for this question, to be honest. It's, throughout my entire career, I've been very proud of representing Australia and New Zealand, and I haven't hid that fact. And I've always stated that fact whenever I've been given a chance, and I live in Australia and I was raised in Australia, but I have my Maori roots. I have the blood in me, and you can tell I have it in me because of the fighter I am. And the aggression that I show when I'm in there, that it is evident and everyone can see it. And the media getting behind that rivalry because of Australia versus New Zealand, because it sells tickets, because it garners hype, because it attracts attention. Honestly, it just hurt. It just hurt. And obviously the media sways the public, so it created that dynamic in my fans, in general, and it was upsetting. It was upsetting, and I don't think I realised how much it affected me until after the fight. When I was putting it all together and trying to understand, what was going on. Is that it hurt? It hurt a lot, and I understand it, but. That I guess that's it, and moving forward, I've let go of all of it. That's I guess my biggest thing is I've just let go of it all, and it doesn't affect me anywhere near. Well, firstly, being aware of it is, and falling for the trap the first time definitely makes me much more aware and ready the second time. So I'm in a good place right now.
Robert, that makes me feel a little sad. I'm Maori myself, and it makes me sad to hear that. You know what I mean? For a lot of Maori in New Zealand who live here and are born here, it's so hard to find your roots sometimes, because of everything that's happened over the years. But it's quite heartbreaking to hear you say that and to feel that way. And I hope you do find some solace and some love from the side of the ditch as well. You do deserve it.
Thank you very much. No, I definitely do. And I know I still have a lot of fans and supporters out there. And I know the rivalry went as far as the fight itself. And after that fight left, we were all on the same team again. That's how it is with us Australian, New Zealand guys. But yeah, like I said, it's nothing. It's nothing to get teary over. It upset me the first time, but I am grateful that this second time it is much more tame, and that card was played the first time, and everyone, a lot of the media know that you're not going to get the same results working it a second time.
Exciting times ahead for you.
Yes, very.
I want to start off with taking our minds back to 2019. UFC 243, Melbourne, Australia. Record-breaking attendance, 57,000 people.
57,127 people. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you were there to solidify yourself as the middleweight champion, to win the belt of then former champion, Robert Whittaker.
Yes.
Can you take us back to that day and what that experience was like?
The day itself? Yeah, see? Goosebumps.
There it is.
Yeah. Honestly, it was special. It was special for me because the Tasman, rivalry, He's a Mozzie, You know, I'm the Black Kiwi, you know, and we're storming their land with our fighters, and we went over there and we hit the three-peat. You know, we spoke them, Brad, myself, and Dan. The night of, when it was going down, I was more excited for the entrance, to be honest. And I felt like that gave me the freedom to just not even worry about the fight. You know, I was just focused on. I took the fight seriously. I was focused on the fight itself, but I wasn't overanalyzing it. And you know, Robert's come out now and kind of admitted all I was saying back then when I was saying he's feeling the pressure. He's not acting the same. He's acting out of character. You know why? You know, and now he's come out and admitted that. But I was like, I told you this. You should have just listened to me and taken my advice when I was calling it to you rather than deny it and try and defend himself. But yeah, it was just, I was focused on the entrance because I wanted to make something spectacular happen. When I fought Silva, UFC, I think that was UFC 234 in Melbourne, Dana was apprehensive about me doing an entrance. But I said, this is my show this time. I'm the main event, so it's gonna be my way or no way. I felt like I honored every part of me, every part of my culture, every part of where I come from, you know? And I just showed out, and I just felt like I represented myself. Then I went out there and then I stopped them. And one thing I'm really proud of is that all the fans that were in that arena who were supporting me, who had Stylebender t-shirts on, I'm so glad they left the arena with their head held high. That was for me was the pride that I was like, yeah, because I saw a lot of Whittaker fans with their tail between their legs, and I like that.
See, he was the champion for, you know, a considerable amount of time leading up to that fight, and you had taken the division by storm at that point, where that title was the only, you know, destination.
Yes.
You won the title, and you mention about the fans and how, you know, you say they left the stadium with their heads held high, and that's been something that you've kind of repeated over the course of being the champ, is that, you know, it's not about that title, it's about how it's affected your community, your village, your family, your gym. How do you think that has impacted on everyone around you? The
attention, the eyes, it brings a lot of notoriety to the people around me. Like I said, the gym, my people, both from New Zealand and Nigeria. You know, even the whole continent of Africa now is just blowing with MMA, and I'm proud to say I'm one of the three kings who facilitated that, who inspired that. Just I feel like the title itself, it's not really about the belt, but it's about what it brings, you know. Like I said, the eyes, the world is watching us. You know, the world is watching us. And you look at even our gym right now, we've got 2 world champions. I'm glad that the people can appreciate that and realize that the world is watching us and seeing the work that we're doing. You look at even Alex Volkanovski's last fight with Brian Ortega, that was one of the fights that solidified him as a legend.
Agreed.
You know,
yeah.
Solidified him. You need those fights. Like my one was the Gastelum fight where people were like, okay, you want to talk shit about, but you just can't talk shit. So same thing with Alex, like people, you know, and I like Max Holloway, but they're the Max, you know, Max did this, Max did that. But then when you beat Brian Ortega and survived that guillotine and then still immediately turned around, survived the triangle, and it's that point on him that you can't deny him. You just, okay, oh, he's the greatest of all time. Okay, you just have to, you know, all tongues must confess, all knees shall bow, whatever, however they say it, yeah. So, you know, what we're doing right here is special, and I feel like majority of the people are gonna miss the boat when it's all said and done. When I'm done, when Alex is gone, you know, people are gonna be like, wow, I should have paid more attention. I should have really soaked it in while it was happening. And I even made a post not long ago, just kind of reiterating that, like saying, like, enjoy me while I'm here. Because even when I was fighting in the King of the Ring circuits, I said, like, you guys should watch me while I'm still fighting in New Zealand. Yeah. You know, while I'm still fighting over here, because eventually I'm not gonna be fighting in New Zealand anymore. It's gonna be really rare. Now not no more, but we won't get into that. But yeah, and I say, like, right now while I'm still fighting, you know, in the next few years, just really pay attention to each fight and really enjoy them, because I know what I am and I appreciate what I am, and I've accepted it, and I know when I'm done with this game, there will never be another like myself. So yeah.
I've mentioned this before, that when I walk into City Kickboxing, it gives you a real warm feeling to walk into a gym, see a class in action with your everyday fighters, warriors, no matter what level, and you're there, and Dan's there, and Kai's there, and Brad's there, and Blood's there, Carlos is there. You're all training together and building this empire. Like, I seriously feel like that every time I walk in here. How important is that? To have that, you know, this gym is a gym, but it's also a community and family.
It's a family. That's the thing. It's the atmosphere. no one person is bigger than the gym. That's like, I guess, the unwritten rule. And it's something that Eugene, Doug, Twist, Adam, all the leaders of the gym have cultivated. Is just no one fighter is bigger than the gym. And people have made that mistakes over time. And you get that one guy who is larger than life, but then like they start to act larger than life. You know what I mean? So yeah, in this gym, you don't have the luxury to do that because you'll get humbled really quickly. You know, I think it's just the atmosphere we've created. So we keep cultivating that, and it's just now second nature that whenever anyone comes in, if they don't fit in, we can kind of smell that kind of shit real quick. Yeah, so they wouldn't really be welcome, but then people just come in and they just become part of the family.
Back to Robert Whittaker.
Yes, my old best friend.
Your old best friend, you know, you've mentioned it that he's now come out and he's admitting, you know, that things got the better of him outside of the octagon. Does that give you an advantage? Because he says he's going to change things now and that he's come a long way, etc., etc. But how does this work in your favor?
For me, it lets me look at him not like my last opponent who wouldn't admit their mistakes, who kept on making excuses. So Robert finally stopped making excuses and just, I mean, after the fight, he said, you know, this was the best I've ever felt. And I'm like, cool, thanks for admitting that. And I beat you at your best. But then now he's coming saying like, oh, you know, I wasn't myself. This is blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I know what you're trying to say, but at least you can admit what I was saying, that you were acting out of character. So it makes me take him seriously. Like what in AA, you know, what is it? Acceptance is the first step. So he's accepted his flaws. I'm like, cool, that's good. Thanks for accepting that. Now we can move on to a new fight. And yeah, I'll just say just do you. Don't try and be anyone else. Because he's saying that now, like Jan's got the blueprint. Yeah. He said that last time about Kelvin Gastelum. He said Kelvin Gastelum put the blueprint out. And look what happened. I said, don't try and copy anyone else's homework. Do your own homework.
The blueprint, that was going to be my very next question, actually.
You're not built like Jan.
But everyone fights before, and you can watch these old fights, you know, and find some sort of blueprint.
Yeah.
Are you expecting a different Robert Whittaker this fight?
Yeah, I'm expecting a more patient Whittaker, which is great for me. I'm like, cool, I'll pick him apart. And then I'll do some other things that I have planned on doing with him that I won't give away just yet. Oh, my heart's close to my chest. But yeah, so I expect a more patient Whittaker. He's not gonna go guns-ho. But that works perfect in my favor because everyone knows what I like to do. If you want to stand on the outside, bet. Stand on the outside. Yeah. Let's work. And you know I've got those limbs, and I'm going to use all of them, all 8 of them. And if he wants to grapple, bet. Let's grapple. Yeah.
He brings up Jan in his interviews. You didn't get the decision go your way, but after every fight you do take something away from it, whether it's a win or a loss.
Major.
So what did you take away from that fight?
The Jan fight, when there's a few things I took away, but the main thing I took away from that fight was just patience. Just patience. I know how to practice patience. I'm really good at it. Even before the Costa fight, I remember the whole week was I'm just practicing patience because I don't want to blow my load too quick. So I was just like, just chill. And yeah, and the Jan fight, when I heard him, because even he knew when I heard him, and I just didn't practice patience in that moment, I was like, okay, I'm going to take him out now. And I should have practiced patience. And yeah, that's what I've learned. So, and like I said, Robert's going to be more patient this fight. I'm like, bro, I got time today. I got time today.
Every clash you have in the octagon, whether the result goes your way or not,
yes,
it's important to take something away from that.
Of course, yeah. No matter what, even in life, anything you do, there's any encounter, good or bad, I always take something away from it and it just sits in the back of my head, like, okay, remember that. So from the Jan fight was practicing patience. I don't rush. Same thing I did in the first Whittaker fight. You know, I didn't rush. I knew I heard him. I was like, cool, I'll get him again. I just had the confidence in my skills. So I should have had that in the Jan fight, like, it's okay. I'll get him again, like, rather than try and put my foot on the gas, and he used that to time me well. Beautiful, beautiful chess move on his part, so, yeah.
Touche.
Touche.
You've had a rematch with Vettori. You're going to have a rematch with Whittaker. What's the end game here? Are you lapping the division?
Yes, I'm lapping the division again, and I hope to get at least 2 new challengers in the division again. So, yeah, I'm lapping the division again. That's the narrative now, because, yeah, they're not on my level. It's facts.
You've been saying that for a very
long time. I have, and people didn't believe me from the get-go, from the first UFC fight. It's so crazy now. Like, I was over 3 years in the UFC now, and now it's like, okay, well, wait till he fights new Whittaker, or Whittaker's improved, this and that. He's improved a little bit, but I've improved. And people think like, oh, he's improved. What do you think I've been doing? And the thing is that I've also accepted now is accepting myself on a new level. Like, because I've always known who I am. Like, you know, you have it. I know I've got it, the it factor, or whatever it is, but I've kind of like stepped into that role a little bit more now where I'm just like, I'm not going to shy away from it. I'm the man. That's it. You know, deal with it. And it's kind of like, you know, what do you call it? It counters the culture of what we have here, where it's like, oh, don't shine too much because, you know, you might, you want to be humble. But I'm like, yeah, people who know me know who I am, so I don't really care about those who don't know me. But I'm stepping into my role as the guy that stepped into this game of fighting, and I just knew, like, you just know yourself. So I'm stepping back into that, and I just know my skill set. I know my ability to learn. That's one thing I've been enjoying doing now is learning again. And like I said, I've got some new skills I really want to try out. So, yeah, stay tuned, stay tuned. That's it, yeah.
Watch the space.
Yes, watch the space.
I really can't wait because we're so used to seeing you fight all the time.
Yeah,
so
I know.
now when you come to the octagon, it's
few and far between,
okay.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Really enjoy me while you can. Because, I mean, you know, I'm not being blasphemous because don't ever put me, I'm not saying I'm those guys, but guys like Mike Tyson, those who watched him, I was lucky enough to watch Mike Tyson's last fight.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
I watched it live. I watched Roy Jones' last fight. Holy shit. I can say that. I'm going to tell my grandkids that.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell them that. Like, yo, I was there. I commentated it. So, you know, for me, that's something I'm proud of, even though just as a spectator. So if you get a chance to watch me fight, not just myself, watch Dan Hooker fight, watch Kai fight, watch Diamond, Shane, Brad, Blood, you know, go watch them fight. Even local shows, like some of the young guys coming up right now. Like I said, Adam Cook, if you have a chance to watch him fight live, go watch him fight, because, man, it's something special that's happening right now for New Zealand combat sports. And I feel like the majority, the masses, are too focused on other things to realize the special thing that's happening right here. And the world can see it. The world can see it, the value of what we're doing. So why can't our own people? So I feel like you really, really pay attention, because before you know it, it's gone, and this era's gone, and then you would have missed it. And you'd be like, oh, I could have gone to that fight, but I went out on the piss instead. My boy, you know.
Had a good time. Actually, it's funny you say that, because we've had conversations in the past about the last wave of fighters, and then there was a little bit of a lull.
Exactly.
And then there was the uprising.
Now we're here again,
Yeah.
and this is happening right now, and we're in it right now. And it's hard to see. Like, even I was talking to Francis last week, and we were talking about the same thing with me, him, and Kamaru, and we're like, man, one day when we're like, you know, in our mansions or palaces or whatever, chilling, we'll look back on these days and be like, we were the three kings. And there was a special moment in combat sports history that will never be taken away from us in history on earth. There's a select few people in history. And it's amazing. For me, it's really amazing. So what we, like I said, with the three kings, and also what we're doing here as Kiwis, as Australasians, it's beautiful. So yeah, even with me and Rob, this fight, this rematch, it's huge. Even he's gonna be proud to be able to say, like, I fought that guy. Like, trust me, one day, not right now, but one day he's gonna be proud to be like, yeah, I fought that guy, I gave him my best. He beat me twice, but I gave him my best.
Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
He beat me twice.
I mean, he'll be proud of it, yeah.
But what can your fans and the world expect to see in this new fight? It's been a little while between drinks for fights with you.
Yes, you expect me to have fun. That's what I did last time when I fought Whittaker. I remember I came in there and I was just like, the quote I had that week was, when I'm having fun, I'm the best in the world. So that's not gonna be any different this fight. I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna have fun. Like, literally, the kid, like, I remember even before the fight, like, I was in my stance and I was looking at him and I was whooping, and I just remember the smirk I had, and it's like you just know. And one of my teammates, Adam Cook, he inspired me in his fight in Dunedin, a local fight. He hadn't fought since 2016.
Wow.
And he's the most nicest, humble guy. So nice. Just the man. And backstage, he was dancing before the fight, like 10 minutes before his fight. I was like, who's this guy? Adam doesn't dance. And you can just kind of see him, like, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Then his song plays, he's walking out. I can just see him, like, just step into the role. And then when he stepped into the octagon, onto the cage, he just kind of like, whoa! And then I just like, whoa, the most quiet, chill guy, you know, humble guy. and he just stepped into his role and just walked around the octagon, just like he knew himself. It's like in his head, it was like, oh, you guys about to see this shit. Like, like, he just knew. I'll post about it because it really, and I talk about it on my countdown. You'll see it on my countdown as well, but he inspired me in the sense that, like, you know, the most quiet, like I said, everyone knows Adam here, and he's the nicest guy, just nice, humble guy. But he stepped into a role that he just knew. Like, he went into God mode straight away, and that inspired me. So I even get chills talking about it right now. But, like, yeah, it inspired me. So I want to do that for myself this fight. I want to step into my role. The result, I don't care if I win or lose. I just want to show off, and I want to have fun. Because, like I said, when I'm having fun, I'm the best in the world. So, yeah.